Now, besides that, another one of the court's rulings that they're going to come up is what to do about Puerto Rico. Yes. I had a lovely time in the United States colonized territory. You see? See, we're still living off the fruits of our colonized citizens in Puerto Rico. Well, the Supreme Court is going to be able to hear whether or not Puerto Rican United States citizens should be afforded the benefits of citizenship, i.e., representation and voting. Now, I believe, there's a bit of a split about that. But I would let the Puerto Ricans determine whether or not they want to be citizens. But I know this for sure. You need to give everybody a voting right. And the Puerto Ricans are brown like me. So I always feel like when you're brown like me, it's just like I think about the alphabet gang. Everybody's in the same raggedy boat. So the alphabet gang and the black folks need to stand up for the rights of Puerto Ricans to be citizens and to be able to have equal representation in Congress. I mean, how are you going to be having Donald Trump out there tossing paper towel rolls after a hurricane? Yes, he did. Remember that? Throwing paper towels out to people who have lost their entire lives in hurricanes and say that's the way you treat people when you don't see them as citizens, when you know full well there's not going to be any type of grandstanding from their congressional representation because they have no representation. So I believe that they need to let more brown people vote, but I also believe that they might be fearful that if the conservatives allow more brown people to have true citizenship, not non-citizenship like I call black people are non-citizens, but true citizenship, then they might lose all the elections. And that's why they're going backwards, trying to undo all the justice laws that allow everybody to vote. They take away the laws when they know that they won't win when the majority gets to rule and vote. Come on now. They're trying to hold on to power. That's why the second part of what I said, as opposed to adding more justices, we also need to get rid of the electoral college system. If you all remember that the Electoral College puts up the number of votes. Whenever you have any election, you can elect somebody from your state, but the Electoral College, they determine whether or not that person who won that local election gets all the votes from their state in the United States presidential race. So if you were, let's just say Hillary Clinton, it was claimed by the Bernie Sanders folks back when Bernie was against Hillary a few years ago that the Electoral College votes for 3 of the states that were supposed to go to Bernie Sanders were given to the Hillary Clinton when she should not have had them, when the votes said that in those particular jurisdictions, Bernie got the votes. So those Electoral College votes went to Hillary instead of Bernie, and then Hillary went on to lose the election to Donald Trump. So when you cheat early on and you're cheating the people out of the right to have the person they want representing them, which at that time was Bernie Sanders, clearly for the Democratic Party, then it means that there's an inherent level of deceit within the Democratic Party, to where even those people at the top in the Democratic Party are like puppet masters, making sure that they get to move pieces and puzzle pieces where they want them to be. And that's what they did with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. That's why Bernie is not the president and Hillary is not the president and Trump was the president. Now we need to figure out a way where these Democrats can get on the same board and figure out this debt ceiling, which I believe is a fake. It's a fake tragedy. I don't believe the debt ceiling is a crisis. It's always, no matter what it is, the United States is not going to let their credit go bad. Remember, white people are in charge of credit ratings. And the United States is white. And the United States is not going to let its credit go bad with other white countries. Do y'all remember when Donald Trump called the black countries S-hole countries? Is that how they really think about black countries? I'm just saying. We can have all of the posturing by the Democrats and the Republicans up on Capitol Hill about what they're going to do about the debt ceiling. Nobody cares. Nobody out here in regular land cares about the debt ceiling. All we know is this. We're out here working every day. We're out here with our jobs. We're paying our taxes. Y'all are up there in D.C. making almost $200,000 a year as congressmen and women, and senators making the same amount of money. And y'all aren't doing anything to benefit the American people, not on the Republican side or the Democrat side. So at the end of the day, we're all out here left wondering who is in charge, who is actually going to do something that's going to benefit the greater good instead of just their own political aims. So the U.S. Supreme Court will also decide whether the U.S. can hide evidence that it tortured people. Now, I talked about this already. Now, In Guantanamo Bay, we had the architect of 9/11 was being held for 20 years and was never given a trial or a trial date, and they never did any discovery exchange between the counsels. So for those of you who don't know, lawyers on opposite sides have to exchange information back and forth. So the government has to turn over documents to the defendant so they can adequately defend themselves. Well, the government has refused to turn over any documents to a man that's supposed to be defending himself about September 11th. So now, Abu Zubaydah is a Palestinian man currently being held at the U.S. military prison at Guantanamo Bay, and he's been there since 2002. And he was basically waterboarded for 23 days. Waterboarding is torture, and waterboarding is illegal, and that's a war crime. And so that torture tactic, you know, whenever President Obama's administration was made aware of the waterboarding, they kind of like, you got to put a stop to that. And the United States was like, oh no, we don't waterboard, we don't do torture. When actually we were torturing everybody. We tortured everybody that came over here from Palestine, and we tortured everybody that we thought had anything to do with September 11th. And we tortured people that didn't have anything to do with September 11th. Heck, the United States government tortures black people and Latino people and Asian people. Come on now. The government is engaged in torture, but now the Supreme Court will make the determination as to whether or not the CIA is required to turn over the names or the list of its black ops sites, because a foreign country, Poland, now is seeking information related to the Guantanamo case. So the country of Poland's like, United States of America, we're watching what you got going on over there with your hearings in Guantanamo, and don't think that Putin isn't watching either. All the other countries are waiting to see how the Supreme Court will rule on whether or not the CIA has to turn over information. Because if the CIA is forced to turn over its black ops information about where we have all of our secret facilities and how our torture chambers are designed, all that kind of stuff, the other countries are going to find out and kill the Americans at those black ops locations. That's what I believe. It may not be true, but that might be why the CIA is nervous about that. And the CIA lawyers have said to the justices, please do not require us to release this information. Please do not. And by the way the Justice Department was putting out that argument, it was kind of like, if you do this and require us to send this out there, the United States is going to be in a world of trouble when it comes to black ops, and all of our agents may be basically murdered. Anyway, also, the court will take up the gerrymandering. Oh, yes. The court ordered, the white flight gerrymandering that's being done everywhere based on the United States Census that was done for 2020. In October 2020, 4 members of the Supreme Court endorsed the view that state legislators should have broad and potentially unchecked authority to determine how federal elections are conducted in their state. Quote, the Constitution provides that state legislatures, not federal judges, not state judges, not state governors, not other state officials, bear primary responsibility for setting elections rules. That's what Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote in a concurring opinion. Now, taking it to this logical extreme, Democratic governors that have Republican legislators will be at the behest of the Republican legislators if they have a law that they write in that the Republicans can then veto instantly. That's too much power for them to have, but that's essentially what Neil Gorsuch and his conservatives on the court are posturing. They want to make sure that when they're doing the gerrymandering all over in the states, trying to make it better, they're trying to break up Atlanta. For those of you Atlantans out there, if you're listening, Buckhead has asked to secede from the city of Atlanta as an annex. Buckhead is the majority white, wealthiest neighborhood in the Atlanta complex, and the white citizens there have taken up for the last 2 years to remove themselves from Black Atlanta. I call it Black Atlanta because it's black. Heck, everybody's black in Atlanta except a few white people in Buckhead. So yeah, they said we don't want to be around the black folks anymore. There's too many shootings and we don't want to go to the grocery store and get shot. So not to say that them having their own city charter would cause the black people not to come there and do shooting. White people shoot too, but they're just figuring out a way for them to segregate themselves and take away a huge tax base for Atlanta and take away almost 1/3 of its population. Yes, the dense population that has all the tax dollars coming up there. White people are like, we don't want to deal with y'all black folks anymore. We want to get away from Atlanta. Now, they've been trying to do this for the last 50 years, but it hasn't worked. But this time, they've gotten the former campaign fundraiser for the Clintons that quit Hillary Clinton's campaign when she lost, who then went on to fundraise for Donald Trump and raised close to $100 million for the Trump train. And now he has left the Trump train $100 million and started raising money to make Black Atlanta break off Buckhead and let the white people have their own independence. So that's what's happening out there in Hotlanta. So that's what white flight looks like when they don't want to move to a neighborhood. They just want to be like, we don't even want to deal with y'all anymore. We don't want black city council. We don't want black mayor. We don't want this black university complex with all these black schools. We want to go where the white people are. We want our own white police force. That's essentially what they're asking for. So that's debatable. Do you think that the Buckheadians should be able to disassociate themselves and come up with their own city, the Buckhead City? I think no. So on that note, don't let the gerrymandering happen in your town. It's been so great being on the show with you today. I mean, I've had such a wonderful Thursday today. Now, I know that there's a lot of talk about microaggression. If you see some white people out there committing some microaggressions against you, why don't you just reply with this? I'm sorry you feel that way. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stay black. There's nothing that can be done about that. But the only thing that you can do is take a page out of Rachel Dolezal's book and become black like me. Bye, everybody. That was a book. Black like me. It was a white man who been in blackface. I'm going to tell y'all later. Have a great rest of your week. If you have any nice little sex tapes you want to DM me, please send me the DM of the Kim Kardashian Ray J sex tape from Cabo. I'm going to try to go out there and find it, and I might even try to download it so I can share it with y'all. I love you all. Be good to each other and be good to the racist white people that you come across. We got to try to change their minds about black folks. It hasn't happened in 500 years, but maybe there's hope. Do you ever really think white people will see black people as equal? No. And that's exactly what Professor Bell, the creator of critical race theory, is a black Harvard professor, a black man lawyer who is a professor who came up with critical race theory, which his theory was not, it was completely taken over by white people to say something that it doesn't say with the conservative movement. But really, critical race theory says racism is here to stay forever, and white people will always be racist. So stop wasting your time trying to show white people how not to be racist, and black people just live in your own black truth. That's what critical race theory says. The theory is that racism will always be here. It's inherent in the fiber of our being. It's how we were created. It's how this country was created. It's how everything was created, baby. Apparently, if you're a black Hebrew, the Egyptians were racist against us. Okay, well, I have to go ahead and log off a little bit. I hope that you all get to find the sex tape for me. If Erica Jane is out there listening, I cannot wait to watch her sex tape. I'm sure she's going to come up with one. It looks like she's trying to audition for Vivid every time she posts something on Instagram. And, at the end of the day, I think that, she was able to gold dig for a long time, baby. But you have to make sure that the gold mine is like an African gold mine. The kind of gold mine that white people can come in, like De Beers, and mine it for generations and not give any of the black people money. The gold mines and all the diamond mines are owned by white people, and all of them are in Africa. Have you ever thought about that? So we'll talk about that another day. That blood diamond that Beyonce wore in that Tiffany commercial. I don't care how much money Tiffany gives to HBCUs. That was still racist. That's some bullshit. Sorry, and I don't even curse on my Instagram social medias, but that was bull. And Beyonce, I guess you did a good thing by wearing it on your back. You need to turn your back to the racists, and I'm glad that Jay-Z and Beyonce were able to wake Tiffany's whack butt up with their whack racist history. You got Beyonce blackness wearing a blood diamond. Come on, Tiffany. Come on. I stopped wearing my little Tiffany bracelet after that mess. I said, no, I'm going to have to do my own little protest. My silent protest is no longer wearing my Tiffany jewelry. Bye, Tiffany. It's a terrible name anyway. Tiffany. Tiffany. Okay, you all. So I'm got to log off. I hope you're good to each other out there. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed my fall do. This is my pre-color phase. I'll be getting some highlights and some blonde in here. I gotta jazz it up. I can't keep on doing the same look all the time. Come on, I gotta do something jazzy for the people. Trying to stay woke. Fashionably woke. Bye, everybody. Bloop, bloop. Bloop, bloop. She kept coming. I love this song.